So I was recently scammed for about $1,500. I have not put out a video in a little bit of time because of this situation, as well as I've just been really busy and good things have been going on in the business and in life, things going on, really chaotic and busy. I wanted to share with you my experience, what happened to me. This has already kind of gone through the Facebook rounds as well as on YouTube as well. People making some videos about it, just kind of talking through some things. I did a live stream with Josh Roman at American AF Dumpsters, and we talked through that stuff with Jeremy from DRS, and able to try to find ways to help DRS users at least, and hopefully other people using other platforms as well, to be able to kind of crack down on potential fraud going on in their business. But I wanted to share the hot take of exactly what happened to me, and try to give you the best timeline as possible. Starting from the beginning, very first thing that happened to me was I got a call, somebody speaking broken English, and I couldn't exactly tell what they needed or wanted, so they said, oh, let's go to texting. So we started texting. They called again. It was for a Saturday afternoon at that point, dumpster drop-off for a week-long, about an hour away for a 10-yard dumpster. And so I told them the price. They said, can you send that over to me, email that over to me, and I will pay, and please go deliver the dumpster to my house. They made it sound like they were the homeowner. It was not a contractor. It was not a broker initially that they kind of portrayed themselves as. They portrayed themselves as the actual person living there. I show up, and after they paid in full, of course, I show up, and there is a work truck with ladders on top, and it basically looks like a beat up house. Definitely needs some renovation. And there's a work truck there. A man comes out with broken English and says, hey, dumpster in the back, dumpster in the back. Got it. Good to go. I go to the back alleyway. I drop off the dumpster, pretty big grassy area. Drop off the dumpster. Speak with him very briefly because he really doesn't understand me. I'm trying to use my hands and point and, load level, maximum load level, pointing to the dumpster, all that stuff. You have it for a week. I'll be back next Saturday to come grab it, and we're good to go. No problem. Well, I then get stuck, and the guy actually helps me to get unstuck and get out of there. So right off the bat, can't really understand each other, but very kind guy. We're doing the best we can to communicate, and drop off was without a problem. Paid in full. At that point, no red flags. At the end of the week, I go and grab the dumpster. I pick it up. I go haul it back. I'd already told him, it included 1 ton. They were putting in bags, trash bags full of plaster. Not too much because it's going to weigh, quite a bit. But trash bags full of plaster into the dumpster. Filled up to the top was about 5 tons. So it was at basically close to my maximum of what my truck can do, the system can do, all that stuff. At the transfer station, it was an additional, I believe, $306 in overages just because of the weight. And so I texted the guy, hey, just want to let you know, you got overages because of the material. I already told you what it's prorated at $70 per ton. He didn't respond immediately, but I then charged the card on file, in which case it bounced. It said card issuer declined, I believe. And so that was a concern. But at that point I was thinking, well, that was the only vehicle there. It was a work van type of a vehicle. Maybe that... I was beginning to question, who did I really talk to? Is this the homeowner? Just random little, intrusive thoughts of, what if this happens? What if, that started to go off. He texted back later that night, and he said, hey, so sorry, I've been really busy, been doing a lot of work on the house and everything. I will get you paid tonight, so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic. It's not uncommon. Maybe they weren't anticipating that much of an overage. $300 is a significant amount for maybe most people, especially nowadays, and with the economy and everything. So okay, get it paid, no problem. I had resent the invoice to him since he was going to. At that point, I didn't know it, but if he was going to use a different card or the same card or transfer money over to that account or whatever. But I sent him the updated invoice for him to be able to pay. A day went by, didn't get paid. I texted him, hey, just want to let you know, just reaching out. Still hasn't been paid yet. It was actually due upon me dumping it on that day, so you are past due right now, so please get that paid. So sorry, really busy, really working hard, falling behind on getting stuff. At one point he said I had issues with my bank. Okay, I got you. Do whatever you need to do. It's all good. Just get it paid as soon as you can here. It went through basically a couple more days, and I had texted him. I said, hey, so at this point you owe me $300. This was after multiple days. So this is not next day, hey, where's my money? Getting all worked up. This is several days later. Not a full other week, but hey, just want to let you know, I will be taking legal action, putting a lien on the property because this is, due for this dumpster. I worded it better than that, but I said, oh, so sorry, it's a mistake. I'll get that to you. Well, then that Friday, then he says, hey, I need another dumpster. I've got the money for the first one. I'll pay the overages from the first dumpster, and then I need another dumpster. Great. Let's do it. But I'm not leaving and moving my truck until I'm paid in full for the overages from the first one and then the second one. Send over the invoice. He says he's going to use a different card because of those other bank issues, which to me is reasonable, whether he's the contractor or a homeowner. People getting paid, it all fell in my mind as into a position of being reasonable. Things that I have seen before in this business over the last 4 years, I have seen these things come up and they get resolved, and there's no issues after that. So this still fell in line with what was reasonable enough to me, and maybe, well, we'll get into that later, but what's reasonable now is different. He uses a different card. He wants the email sent to a different email address. So still has the first email had either his first name and then another name with some numbers, and then the second email had his last name. So I was like, that's a little weird, but it still has his name in there. People use their first names for certain things, last names for other things. I don't do that personally, but okay, sure. Paid in full, good to go. Overages from last time, good to go. Maybe I even considered at one point, maybe he had fraud and he had to get a new card. He was waiting on getting a new card, or using, could have been something like that. So paid in full, good to go. I go drive an hour to drop off a dumpster for another week. So it's 4 hours round trip. It was not a small price. As I said, $1,500 altogether roughly was how much this whole thing ended up being that I have not been paid yet. So I go to drop off the second dumpster, put it in the same spot as before. The guy comes out, all good, put it in the same spot. It's drier now, so I don't get stuck where I was the previous time before. Everything's all good. He starts loading up more of the plaster in there. It was business as usual. Nothing out of the ordinary. Everything he had mentioned to me in person, which was very, very little, matched what the person on the phone and texting sounded like and talked like. It seemed very reasonable. Everything was the same person. So dumpster number 2 is sitting on the property for another week. That Thursday, I wake up to an email saying there's a chargeback for the first dumpster. I've never had a chargeback in 4 years. I've had one person not pay some overages from one, I think, like a year and a half ago. I've never had a chargeback, and I've recently even talked about never having a chargeback when other people have had some in the last year or so, and got my first one, and it was for $572. It was the full week for over an hour away, roughly, and that included 1 ton. But remember, the overages he paid on the second dumpster And so with a different credit card, so the first dumpster was only disputed for the first original amount, which was $572. As soon as that happens, I text him and said, hey, was this a mistake? Is there something wrong with your bank? Something happened? Trying to give the benefit of the doubt. That's what your processing company or anybody else would suggest. Hey, maybe it's a mistake. Deal with this quietly and not have to go through, elevate it any higher. So maybe this can be dealt with outside of going to greater lengths. So his response to me was, oh, that was a mistake. Sorry about that. That's not on my end. I don't have much money left. You're saying that I have to pay for your dumpster twice when I only rented it, once just, recently. What's going on? What are you trying to do to me? And that response led me to go, whoa. And not knowing what you don't know, at that point in time, I finally said, hold everything. We gotta do a full rewind here. It's normal for some things to kind of pop up here or there, but for all of these things to really start to add up, and obviously now this, you don't trip and fall and accidentally do a chargeback on a transaction in your bank. I have heard of some people recently talking about how if you were to close out an account, maybe the most recent or like pending transactions, they would be immediately charged back, to the customer, to the company, and then you deal with that afterwards. I've heard of people, talking about that, but this wasn't just the other day. It wasn't 2 days. It was not pending. It was a confirmed transaction. Didn't trip into it. Didn't automatically or automated, go through the system. This was done intentionally. So with that text message, I started going into full reconnaissance mode, full deep dive, looking into the sky. Because I had already looked into filing a mechanic's lien on the property, I had found out the name of the person on the deed to the property. I looked up the phone number, which was a text now phone number. I looked up the IP address, but just looking online, seeing what I could find out, I was able to go into DRS where the log, there's this like stack of logs, it shows the whole transaction, where it starts, whether it's you or them, sending over a quote, them going to checkout, them changing from one size dumpster to, timing, anything. It logs everything, whole history, timestamps, everything, as well as the IP address. So I pull up the first IP address, I type that into Google, IP address lookup, and I found a website for free. You can find out, I'll put that in the description below, but for free you can find out where this IP address is in the world, generally, that you can find. So the first IP address for the first credit card from, again, like 2 weeks ago now, over 2 weeks ago, is from a city in the Dominican Republic. Okay, that's not Indiana, in the USA. As soon as I saw that, as far as fighting a chargeback is concerned, that is worthless. There's no hope for that. Out of the country. It ultimately means the person who I met in person now, like they didn't just over the weekend go to the Dominican Republic and then come back to Indiana. Like, he's not going on vacation doing this stuff. Looked up the second IP address from the second transaction, paying again the overages from the first one and then the full second one. Meanwhile, my second dumpster is still at the property. To my knowledge at that point, I'm assuming it's another 10-yard dumpster full of plaster to the top again, with another $300 additional dump fee waiting for me to go pay after I pick it up. Both cities are in the Dominican Republic for both IP addresses. The person who I taught at that point called me ignorant or whatever you want to say. Broken English to me is broken English. It was a guy, and it was broken English. That's the best I got. I couldn't really, and frankly, in person, we really didn't say a whole lot. Even if we tried, it probably wouldn't have been very much. So the person who I met at the property is not the person who I have a phone number for. The text now only confirms that it's a fake. The whole thing is fake. It is a complete and utter scam. They're wanting to be as anonymous as possible. They are either using a VPN to mask where they're truly at, which could be anywhere, or they could really be in the Dominican Republic, or just the person who they stole the credit card from as they're using this and then back charging. It's the real person who's back charging, not them. They're not using their own credit card and disputing that a million times with a bunch of dumpster companies. It's stolen credit cards from people who knows where, maybe just in the Dominican Republic, but could be anywhere. So each step along the way, each clue that I found, each damning piece of evidence to this whole situation, I originally was going to try to dispute. I called Full Steam. I called DRS for the support line, basically, for these transactions and chargebacks and all that stuff. Got as much feedback and information as I could from them. But ultimately, stolen credit cards outside of the country, the first and last name, the address, matched both transactions for both different cards, and then ultimately a fake phone number. And I now know that I'm not talking to the person through texting and on the phone with the person who I met in person. So I would assume if you're a smart thief, which is an oxymoron, you're scum at that point. A smart thief would have waited until the second dumpster got picked up to have no issues whatsoever on their end, completely check out at that point. However, they didn't. And so I show up to pick up the second dumpster, in which case I'm going into this knowing, okay, this person, they're either in on this scam or they got scammed as well. You know, they paid money and then they got their money back, or got somebody else's money back through using their credit card. It's the homeowner or the person who's doing the work. At that point, I didn't know what to think, what to believe. Had no idea. I went up to the guy. I recorded on my phone just to have some type of evidence, no matter how it went. But I said, hey, sir, what is your name? He gave me his name, which originally matched the deed to the property, but it didn't match the name, the first name and last name of both orders. Okay, who did you rent the dumpster from? And he pointed to my dumpster, but then he said, oh, but here, let me show you. And he pulls up his Facebook, and it is from a Facebook ad, and he shows me the whole interaction between him and this Spanish-speaking dumpster company, or fake, essentially, broker, where they are advertising dumpsters for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40-yard dumpsters for $300 flat. No extra dump fee, no delivery fee, I believe. Essentially a deal too good to be true is exactly what it is. And so I said, sir, that person, I think I asked a few other questions. I can't remember exactly the timing of everything, but eventually I said, sir, you paid someone who took your money. How did you pay them? How did you pay them? Oh, through Chase Quick Pay, through Zelle. So just like Venmo or Cash App, this is something that you cannot get your money from returned to you. There is no chargeback. There is no, you're out of luck. Stinks to be you. So he paid for two 10-yard dumpsters twice, or two dumpsters, for $300 a piece. So he paid $600. He got two dumpsters. Meanwhile, I was paid everything hit my account, and then eventually charged back. And I said, sir, this second dumpster that I had already lifted up on the truck, I said, because I have non-payment for a dumpster, this is either going to be dumped out onto the grass, or I'm at least going today, because this is a scam, it's unfortunate, you went along with this deal that was too good to be true. You paid in a unsecure way, essentially, with a non-reputable business. You are legally responsible for the services or, products provided to you at this address. You're the owner of it. You're legally responsible for this. I need $300 today, right now, for me to take this dumpster out of here to cover the overages, at the very minimum. He got a son who spoke English quite a bit better. And so we chatted, we went back and forth, we talked about how this all happened. I have screenshots, I have just tons of stuff. He showed me, the son shared with me about how they interacted. I have some pictures of his phone. He had to show and verify to the person that he sent the money from Zelle to that person to make payment for the dumpster. Just something that's a reputable company would not do, would never do. I said, sir, you owe me, I believe, about $1,500. After you give me $300 to cover the weight for this dumpster right here. And he said, that's just too much, too much. He said that in English, too much. And I said, sir, I know you've already paid $600. You're not going to get that money back, but I am a legal business. This is taking money and food out of my family's mouth. I'm not a big company. I don't have the luxury of just writing this off and not being impacted at all. This is not how that goes. You are legally responsible for this. If I need to call the police, go to further lengths, I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to, now that I'm talking to the real person, I don't want to have to call and to get a lien on your property. They're doing renovations, him and his son, just slowly, piece by piece. They're, putting some hard sweat equity into it. I don't want to have to do that, but this is your responsibility. I don't know what else to say, and so we kind of just came to a head there. He gave me his ID. I have a picture of his ID. He gave me $300. Cash. I said, sir, I don't know if you're the type of person. I just wanted to get the reaction just to see what he would say. I said, sir, I don't know if you're the type of person who also would take advantage of a company, who would make a bad situation even worse. I'm willing to take payments from you. I'm willing to be flexible with you. But ultimately, this is going to happen. And one way or another, I'd like it to be the easier way. We're going to figure something out here, or I'm going to go to the law, small claims court. Ultimately, put a lien on the property after that, whatever we have to do. But I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Hope you see that. But this is devastating to me. And so he said, yes, we will work out a plan. We'll figure this out. He gave me the cash. I have his ID. I called the Indiana State Police Department, or State Police. They basically said it's international. We can't help you. That stinks for you. It's a civil matter. I called the Attorney General's office of Indiana. I got no help from them. Ultimately, I was referred to go to I believe it's ic3.net or .gov or something, where I can file a complaint, which is worthless. If all of us who have been scammed here recently in this way did that, I'm sure they might go, that's too bad. Nothing's going to happen. The money's gone. The people have already disappeared. There's nothing really to talk about in that regard. So since then, talking with Josh, talking with Jeremy, I have basically been on high alert ever since. That has been one of my primary focuses here recently, as business has really increased, to be watchful, to be very, very careful of everything and anything that even sounds like it could be suspicious. So I'm looking up phone numbers to verify it's registered to the right people. I'm looking up IP addresses, DRS. If you're with DRS, they have been, I think it's already working now, but instituting basically blocking out the Dominican Republic, because that's been one of the primary places that has just been launching with this more recently. To me, this all happened over a month ago. So as far as I know, I'm one of the first ones that got hit with this. As far as people actually speaking up, maybe it's too embarrassing for somebody to, share this type of a situation. They don't want to talk about it. It's already a, insult to injury. Over a month ago now is when it all happened, when it started. And so DRS putting in basically a radius, so blocking out the country. I think there's now Florida has been another hot spot for these types of stolen credit cards, spawning from them, from there. And whether it's Spanish speakers, it's not just Spanish speaking people doing this. There's been scams, to my understanding, every year, different types of scams, how things have kind of popped up. So it's not only one type of demographic, but essentially we're able to now have through DRS an IP address blocker if you're within a certain radius or outside of a radius. So I believe up to any mileage you would want. However, that can present some false positives. So depending on the IP address, you could ping from Lafayette. There's been times where I'll do a speed test on my phone to see what it is, 5G, 4G throughout the years, and it pings from Chicago. That's over 2 hours away. That's 100 miles away. That would put somebody from even Lafayette to ping from there and be problematic. So there's some safety features DRS has already worked on, is working on now. VoIP phone numbers, so basically fake numbers that are not legit phone numbers, being presented with scam warnings of emails and stuff like that. DRS is really trying to be creative and really stick with it as much as these trends have really ignited recently. They're doing the best they can for that. I believe other people at other platforms are trying to do the same thing, trying to tighten things up. But ultimately, the truth is, if it's I think I heard this from a few people, these stolen credit cards, they're not going to probably show up. If these people have stolen credit card numbers, they've got the expiration, they've got the security code on the back, and I'm assuming the full name as well as the address associated with that, and they just stole it yesterday and they go to use it today, nothing is going to be flagged. Any security system or tightened up systems that are going to be able to maybe try to prevent things, if it's just stolen fresh just the other day and they don't even have the physical card, it was off one of those card readers or stuff like that in person, or even online, or hacking a computer, they're going to have all the information. They're going to use the cards. It's not going to be prevented. As much as we'd like to say we can stop anything and everything, that's not reality. I don't believe it for a second. I'm not an internet security guy. I'm not anything like that. But I just don't buy that for a second. The name of the game in conclusion to all this is IP addresses, phone numbers, in person when you go to drop off a dumpster. Even if they are, if you're only English speaking and it's a Spanish customer, as well as whoever was on the phone or texting or emailing, whatever it was, you need to verify and ask as many questions as possible. Don't just assume because they say, hey, I need it right now, that everything's just boom, 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 everything's good. You're excited, you got a last minute rental, it came in, you're able to make it happen, you got some fast cash. Don't get too excited. And for me, honestly, the bigger insult to injury is all of the money that came in initially was already spent when the second chargeback has already come through. All of that money was already spent. So it's like, it feels as if I'm getting hit twice. And in the cash flow of things, that creates a huge problem. And that's only for $1,500. For bigger companies getting hit for bigger amounts, potentially, or even, another small company like myself. So me going in person, talking with the customer, slowing down. Hi, I'm here to drop off a dumpster for so-and-so. Is that you? Confirming who it is, confirming the project. I've even talked briefly just about on that live stream that we did on American AF's channel talking about what I would say in person as far as bringing up the potential for asking for an ID upon delivery. Just recently, we're wanting to confirm and make sure, ways of bringing it up without bringing up fraud and loss of money and any type of nervousness that could, be sparked up in a customer's mind. But essentially being able to say, hey, just to confirm the dumpster, what's your first and last name? Can I? We're now asking for IDs upon delivery to confirm this is the right address, the whole place, and get the full story from the person in person, and then even maybe confirm the phone number as well. Maybe the scammers don't use a VoIP number; they use a legit number. I've even heard of that recently down in Texas, where that was a legit, that's the right area code, the whole thing. But confirming all of the information in person. Now, for a bigger company, for somebody who's renting off, dumpsters left and right, getting a person to be there at delivery could be very problematic. I'm not trying to say that you have to, or you're stupid if you don't. But I'm saying it's that extra degree of effort to confirm all this information. If it's possible, they can be in person, or somebody who's related, or just anything upon delivery before the can touches the ground. Confirm as much as you possibly can. That's what I'm wanting to do in the most quiet, stress-raising way for the customer. Hey, this. No, I'm still thinking through how I'm going to say it, but I know we can't have a picture of a debit card or credit card. That's not legal for safety reasons, for financial reasons, whatever. That can get you in big trouble. Having a picture of their ID, maybe you don't even want to have a picture of their ID, but at least get a look at it. At least confirm as much as you really can with that. And in the meantime, still checking IP addresses, whether you're with DRS or not. There should be a way to look up their IP address. Again, I believe I'll be putting the link down in the description below, but he still owes me the money. He's going to be making payments and essentially working a deal with me. If he falls back on that, then I will be going to the courthouse and dealing with that, because my business is in Lafayette. I've got to go to mine, so not to his where it was performed, but mine, because this is where I'm at. So you don't also want to let bad money hurt future money. So when I brought that can back, I let it sit here for several days full, until I had somebody rent it out. And I basically just made a decision in my mind. I'm not going to let bad money hurt good money, or whatever you want to say. Steal. Oh, sorry, I don't have a 10-yard available. Like, I could be getting ahead if I just dump this. And yeah, it hurts the cash flow. An extra $300 dump in the midst of all this other stuff getting charged back and all that. But I went ahead and got that thing rented out as quickly as I could, as soon as I had somebody who needed it. And we're just going to keep on moving on. Ultimately, $1,500 for the year. Zoom out of that immediate situation. It really should be a drop in the bucket for me. So learning from this $1,500 lesson, potentially, if this guy still doesn't pay me and I put a lien on him and put even more time and effort and money into it, it's a learning lesson for me. I'll share any updates going forward, working with this actual real customer, the homeowner of this property. But it's been tough. If you think you and your platform are indestructible, are not going to be affected by this, I would think again, because there's going to be something down the road at some point that's going to come up, and there's going to be issues. And you're not in control. The customer is always going to be, even the stolen credit card customer. The banks are going to choose the customer, not you, as the merchant. You are going to be the loser 99% of the time, is my understanding, and I'm currently experiencing. So I wouldn't be too cocky about what services you use for your processing of your credit cards and information like that. Use my foolishness and my ignorance and other people's scammy stuff that they have done to improve your business moving forward. Ask the extra questions. Slow down. Double check, triple check. If somebody books a dumpster online without even calling you, talking to you, call and confirm. Hey, just want to make sure this is all right. If there's anything fishy, look up the address, look up where it's at. What are they talking about getting rid of? Just like you would any regular customer that you hope or is, it's legit. Look up the IP address, the phone number, all this stuff. Do your own research, as much as you can. There's nothing 100% foolproof, but there's quite a bit you can really do to be your own detective as often as you can for these kind of things. So if this was helpful, please subscribe, hit the like button. I got scammed out of all this money. Hopefully you don't. I hope you go out there, crush it, kill it, verify stuff, catch stuff before it even pops up. I'm grateful to share anything that I can that could save you guys a lot of cash if possible. So have a great day, guys. Stay safe. God bless. See you.